Wreath, 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 wreath. Eagle. American flags. Yeah, it's got everything. Everything you expect. But this is what I'm gonna say, and you may not expect this. This is a picture of Taylor Swift. Now, I know you're thinking, this man is drunk. I can assure you I am neither drunk nor high, except on my own supply of broken metaphors. But yeah, just stick with me here for a minute. Let's say this is a picture of Taylor Swift, or this is Beyonce. It's like the most obvious on-ramp to culture, right? It's Garth Brooks, it's Drake, it's Dua Lipa. It's the culture you see when you open your eyes in the morning, you know? Now what this really is it's Grant's tomb, a big monument in New York City. The site of General Ulysses Grant, President of the United States, one of the OG guys. This is the entrance. This is, yeah, if you forgot this chair here in 2023, please come by and pick it up. it's waiting for you. But yeah, in here, down in there, that's Grant right there and his wife. And he's behind this big door in this big building. Here's looking out from the structure, and here's a bouquet of flowers and a porta potty. But yeah, you know, this is like the painting you can buy at Target, right? It's the sound you hear when you hear nothing in particular. It's just there. The city is wrapped around it in a way. It's very it's very accessible. The road to it is wide, and you see it from the road. It's lit up at night, this thing, in multiple colors, gently pulsing at you. Come hither, it says. So what does this have to do with Taylor Swift? Well, you may have heard that she dropped a record recently. And you know, all roads lead to Taylor Swift. The parallel I'm making is about the scale of that record release. The scale of her as a kind of cultural icon. I don't think that her record is very interesting, but the scale of it is interesting. The scale of the moment in time, the moment in our culture, and the power that she has, the attention that she gets. The scale of all that's interesting to me. But, you know, sometimes you gotta pick up and go for a bit of a walk to escape that most obvious stuff in our culture. The scale of it is so big, it eclipses everything else. And the scale itself is interesting, but the scale is sometimes the only thing that's interesting about it, and you end up with sort of celebrity songs about being a celebrity or a rich person, but it's not about anything but itself anymore. So you gotta find the smaller stuff hidden in the crevices, you know, a little bit out of view, where things have time to come into focus in a different way, where things are maybe motivated by something deeper, something more personal. And by the way, this video is not a diss track about Taylor Swift. I like Taylor Swift just fine. And this will be a very dad thing to say, which is funny because I'm not a dad. But I'm old enough to be a dad. Probably a granddad. I don't know. But yeah, I think my favorite Taylor Swift song is something that she did for the Big Red Machine record. I told you it was very dad, what I was going to say. Anyway, Taylor Swift is fine, but sometimes you gotta find some other stuff. And that's what we're doing here. We're taking a walk a few yards away from the big stuff. And regarding Taylor Swift and the power that she has, what I mean by that is she has more power in the music industry as an artist than anyone has had for quite some time, I would say. And I love that. I love when artists have power. It's very rare. And so I love that for her. And when artists have power, what that means is that they have freedom. And Taylor Swift had the freedom to make absolutely any kind of album she wanted. She could make any record she wanted, and she would still be obscenely wealthy. And she would even become more wealthy as a result, no matter what the record is, because there's such a huge built-in audience, right? Those Swifties are going to buy that record no matter what it is. So Taylor Swift could make any album she wanted. And this is the album she made. Complete with tired Jack Antonoff beats. But anyway, I should stop hating on her. I'm not really a hater. I'm a lover, not a fighter. But we're arriving here at a much, much smaller monument. And I think a much more interesting monument. This is the Amiable Child Memorial. There's some inscriptions on it. Erected to the memory of an amiable child, St. Clair Pollock, that's the kid's name, died 15 July 1797 in the 5th year of his age. I love the kind of strange phrasing of that. The monument also says, "Man that is born of woman is of few days and full of trouble. He cometh like a flower and is cut down. He fleeth also as a shadow and continueth not." I think that's some kind of quote from the Bible, in which case that's got to be one of the more interesting parts of that otherwise useless book. Okay, I gotta stop being a hater. This guy's child died. He fell down, probably on the left side of the screen here is a hillside down into the Hudson River. And this kid probably fell down and was smashed on the rocks down by the river. Died 5 years old. His father or uncle or something built this monument. He basically gave it to his neighbor to keep on her property for complicated reasons having to do with property and money and real estate and blah blah blah. But as a result of those actions, the monument has endured. And what's really interesting is this monument was built like 100 years before Grant's tomb. Let me read you this. "A century after the tomb of the amiable child was laid, New York's most famous monumental grave, Grant's tomb, was completed. The latter structure is as grand a testimony to the accomplishments of a national leader as the monument to the amiable child is a modest and touching tribute to a young boy who never had the opportunity to grow into adulthood. Or indeed, to become president, you might say." When I discovered this small monument, I found it really, really touching in a way that Grant's tomb was not to me. I mean, I like this structure right here. It's nice. But it's predictable. It looks like exactly what you think it would look like. That little marker stone and the story behind it about that child, and the phrasing, the amiable child. What a weird sort of nickname. There's nothing wrong with Grant's Tomb, and there's nothing wrong with mainstream art or culture. But sometimes small art, small things can have just as much, if not more impact than big art. The little thing you're working on that very few people are likely to see is probably, in all actuality, more interesting than most of the big things in the culture that get all of the attention. It probably has more depth to it, more layers of meaning. It's probably more personal and ultimately more human. So please keep on making it, for the few people who will see it, but also for yourself. The act of creating has value in and of itself. If for nobody else, then for you.